What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, I have some very, very interesting news. As now, Mauricio Sulaiman, president of the WBC sanctioned body, World Boxing Championship, WBC, and Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn, and British heavyweight title contender Dillian Whyte, they all have a plan in place, it seems. Should Deontay Wilder, former Olympic bronze medalist, former WBC American heavyweight world champion superstar boxer, win this trilogy match against undefeated two-time heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer Tyson the Gypsy King Fury? Should Tyson Fury win this fight? Eddie Hearn has already now put it out there that Tyson Fury should fight Dillian Whyte before he fights Anthony Joshua, two-time unified heavyweight world champion, fellow countryman of Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte, superstar boxer Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is going into a showdown with his his WBO mandatory challenger Alexander Usyk, who's the former undisputed cruiserweight world champion, superstar boxer. That's scheduled to take place September 25th. With that said, Eddie Hearn, he was featured on the Boxing Voice, and he was asked, should Deontay Wilder win this trilogy match, are you willing to give him a 50-50 split? Eddie Hearn, he responded by saying, well, first he have to take it to Anthony Joshua and see what Anthony Joshua has to say about this before he can answer. But he says, but Deontay Wilder, in his opinion, would deservingly should receive 50-50 split. Okay? He says that the energy will be the same in pursuing Deontay Wilder for undisputed as it is with Tyson Fury. Now Eddie Hearn, he does another interview on Sky, and Eddie Hearn is saying that, well, he thinks that Tyson Fury should ultimately fight Dillian Whyte before he fights or pursues a fight with Anthony Joshua. Now, do you see the play that just took place? Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, all summer long, all spring, they have been talking about an all UK undisputed showdown. All this time, actually since June 10th of 2020, Tyson Fury, he announced that he and Anthony Joshua, well, they come to an agreement to have a 2-fight deal for 2021, knowing he was contractually obligated to give Deontay Wilder a trilogy match. Nobody cared. Everybody attempted to maneuver around Deontay Wilder in the trilogy match. Okay? Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter, Bob Arum, and his other co-promoter, legendary promoter, Queensberry Promotions CEO and promoter, Frank Warren, they were all in cahoots in trying to make this fight happen between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury for undisputed in Saudi Arabia. And now, Eddie Hearn suddenly, since they went to mediation arbitration with Deontay Wilder, now remember, Anthony Joshua, after his fight with Kubrat Pulev, who was IBF mandatory challenger, he stated that in the post-fight that it's not about the man holding the belt, it's about the belt itself. So now Eddie Hearn, he's saying that should Tyson Fury win this trilogy, he should pursue Dillian Whyte before pursuing Anthony Joshua. Well, you did all this negotiating. When the arbitration was won on the part of Deontay Wilder, you said that Tyson Fury never wanted to fight. Everybody was upset that the fight is not going to happen August 14th. They even had a date. Now Tyson Fury wins the trilogy in a few weeks. You want him to go after Dillian Whyte? Because he's putting Dillian Whyte in place should Deontay Wilder win. And now, more interestingly enough, WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman is stating that Dillian Whyte is not the mandatory challenger for the WBC title. I need y'all to follow me. He's not the mandatory challenger for the WBC title. he hasn't petitioned. He says he's under the understanding that Dillian Whyte is going to fight in August here in the United States to make a name for himself in the States. But they said that why do these British fighters, UK fighters, have to come to the States to make a name when they're making a name and a living in the UK? So why do you want Dillian Whyte to come here and make a name in the States? So MAURICIO SULAIMAN, he states, well, Dillian Whyte is not the mandatory challenger, but he's understanding that he's going to fight in August in the States. And he says he hasn't petitioned to be the mandatory challenger. Well, if he's not the mandatory challenger, what's the pecking order? And he could just petition to be the mandatory challenger for the winner of Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Then he goes on to say they'll make that decision if he's going to be the mandatory challenger on the 25th of July, immediately following the fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder on the 24th of July. I don't know if y'all follow me. So now they're going to wait until the fight takes place. Essentially, they're letting you know to see who's the winner of the fight. That would determine if Dillian Whyte is the mandatory challenger or not. Because if Deontay Wilder wins the fight, Dillian Whyte is going to suddenly become the mandatory challenger. And that is going to derail immediate showdown between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua for undisputed. Thus the reason why Eddie Hearn is putting it out there to make it seem as if it doesn't matter who wins. The winner should be facing Dillian Whyte next before Anthony Joshua. No, if Tyson Fury wins, they're not going to be making any types of mentions of Dillian Whyte for Tyson Fury. Eddie Hearn just wanted to put it out there to make it seem as if Dillian Whyte should be the option for Tyson Fury as well. When it all boils down to the WBC making their decision based off of who wins the fight. Shouldn't Dillian Whyte just be the mandatory for the winner? Why do you have to wait till the 25th to determine if he's going to be the mandatory challenger for the WBC title? Then they said that they would expect, get this, if Tyson Fury wins, they're going to expect Tyson Fury to petition to get a voluntary fight before he fights his mandatory in Dillian Whyte. But they try to frame it as if a voluntary fight to fight Dillian Whyte instead of Anthony Joshua. Now, why would Tyson Fury, if he beat Deontay Wilder July 24th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena, why would Tyson Fury, if he beats Deontay Wilder, why would he petition not to fight Anthony Joshua, but to petition to fight Dillian Whyte? No, he's going to petition to get a voluntary so that way he could fight Anthony Joshua in an undisputed match. That way, that allows him to sidestep Dillian Whyte. Should Dillian Whyte petition to be the mandatory challenger. Now, Dillian Whyte was the mandatory challenger for the WBC until he was brutally knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. He lost his position. Now, he came back, he fought and beat Alexander Povetkin and knocked him out. But the WBC, they didn't reinstate him as the mandatory challenger. Why? Because they expected Tyson Fury to fight Anthony Joshua, and they didn't want any roadblocks. They didn't want any interferences. So they left it as is, with no WBC mandatory challenger. And now suddenly they're saying after the 24th, they'll make a decision whether Dillian Whyte is a mandatory challenger or not for the winner of the fight. Why don't you make that decision now? What would determine you to make the decision on the 25th? Based off of the winner. Because again, it's operation in place. Should Deontay Wilder win, they don't want this immediate undisputed showdown with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. This is unheard of. You're going to make a decision on the mandatory challenger on the 25th of July, immediately following the winner Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Who's going to be the mandatory challenger? But they made no mention if Deontay Wilder wins, he'll immediately petition the WBC to have a voluntary defense to fight Anthony Joshua for undisputed. No, they said that they expect Tyson Fury to do so if he wins, because they expect Tyson Fury to win to have an undisputed showdown with Anthony Joshua and continue plans as they already set forth and thought that was going to happen until Deontay Wilder won the arbitration. So after all of this that Eddie Hearn been through trying to make the fight with Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, he feels that if Tyson Fury wins the fight, he should fight Dillian Whyte first. Let's ask the question. When Dillian Whyte was the mandatory challenger and they were talking about Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, did Eddie Hearn say that Tyson Fury needs to fight Dillian Whyte first before fighting Anthony Joshua for undisputed? There was no mention of that. So Deontay Wilder wins the trilogy. Expect Dillian Whyte to be the mandatory and be placed in position where that's who Deontay Wilder's going to have to go through. They're trying to make a name for himself here in the States. You can see how the dominoes are going to fall. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hey, this is Ebony Bridges, Blonde Bomber, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.